A very good evening to you all, and many thanks for joining us here on Rwanda Television. We hope you had yourselves a very fruitful day, and we are glad to have your company tonight. Coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, my name is Martina Avera. Now moving on, women have been requested to participate more in the financial sector as means to promote diversity, given their role in enhancing fintech's performance. This was during the three-day inclusive fintech forum taking place in Kigali, Rwanda. Teta has more on this story.
Fintech services on the African continent have generated $12.6 billion between the years 2013 and 2021, with girls and women accounting for 3.2% of these companies and only 5% of the revenue. Questioned is the small number of women and girls in the financial sector, which is 28%. They have therefore been requested to participate more, as some of the students that attended the forum expressed it. What I learned from this forum is through stories of some women with highly developed businesses who were able to achieve greatly through hard work and technology. That made me confident about using technology for development.
Software engineering.
Sopnedu Mohanty, an expert in financial technology services in Singapore, basing on three aspects, believes that Rwanda will reach far as financial technology services are concerned.
When I came to Kigali, and I was like a few months back, I just thought Rwanda has three distinct characteristics. There was this deep desire to do something big. So there's a huge ambition in Rwanda's system, which I like. Second thing, you have a strong discipline in what you do, execution, which I think the second characteristics. And the third characteristics to me was that you're open to change. When I think about the three things and apply to Rwanda, I think Rwanda has got all the three characteristics, which means Rwanda as an ecosystem, as a country, is poised for a very big growth in the times to come.
The Capacity Building Program Manager in Rwanda Finance Limited, Anita Mutesi, has it that fintech helps countries to operate border-free.
Fintech without borders ni ukuvuga mbese ni nko kuvuga cyagiye ufungura amasoko.
Fintech without borders means free market access and does not limit countries, where they are able to work together, not necessarily segregating and saying this is Rwanda, this is Kenya, etc. We also want to encourage young girls and women to use technology for development.
So noneho turimo turashaka gukangurira n'abakobwa kubabwira birashoboka.
During the talks held on the first day of the Inclusive FinTech Forum, some women presented about their journey of how they have been able to achieve their financial goals, sensitizing other women to participate in the financial sector. Shina Teta, RTV News.
Thank you, Shina, for that report. Now, more on the first story. Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema has begun a two-day state visit in Rwanda meant to further reinforce the strong relations between the two countries. We have more on this story, courtesy of Serge Nori.
The Zambian president arrived at the Kigali International Airport on Tuesday evening and was received by Rwanda's Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, as well as a number of other officials. His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema then made his way to Village Rugwiro, where he was received by his Rwandan counterpart, His Excellency Paul Kagame, and after inspecting the Guard of Honor, held a tete-a-tete with the Rwandan head of state. It is expected that on day 2 of his state visit, the Zambian head of state will visit the Kigali Genocide Memorial at Gisozi and hold another meeting with President Paul Kagame, followed by a press conference. The two leaders are also expected to attend the ongoing inaugural Inclusive FinTech Forum here in Kigali. President Hichilema's state visit comes following President Kagame's state visit to Zambia last year in April. During that visit, both countries signed agreements to work together in sectors such as health, agriculture, fishery, investment promotion, as well as immigration and emigration matters.
In less than a month, Umurenge Sacco, a sector cooperative, members will be able to deposit and withdraw their funds via their cell phones. Meanwhile, citizens appreciate how technology is easing their daily lives. Prince Manzi with more.
Francine Mukangamije and Alphonsine Mukandori are Kigali and Kacyiru sector cooperatives members, respectively, for the past 10 years. They say that the challenges they had before the introduction of technological means are no longer there.
twatangiye bakoresha amafishi.
At the beginning, they used hard files and papers and would buy small books, and we spent a lot of time waiting for filling the forms and get our money and be given another day to come back.
Ku kibazo cyawe uzakemura.
Now you come, you give the small book, and they would put the data in the system and get your money without wasting time. It has been 2 years since the Kigali Sacco stopped using hard files in its activities and switched to the core banking system. Gilbert Gasasira of Kigali Sacco outlined on the importance of this system.
This system
helped us in providing a timely service and keeping the data of members in a safer way. In using the hard files, we fell into a lot of losses due to some miscalculations. Kevin Kavugizo-Shyamba of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning states that in less than a month, SACCO members will be able to deposit and withdraw via their phones, and this will fasten service delivery. And later, we will see how we can establish a bank of cooperatives, and it will support them in sharing information and for members to be able to withdraw at any time and any SACCO. In 2019, a trial automation system was initiated in SACCOs, and it is currently operating in 70 SACCOs out of 416 across the country. At least 3 million Rwandans are Murenge SACCO members. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Personnel in the service industry attribute the 44% contribution of this sector on the country's GDP to how the country hosted many various conferences in the first months of the year, and this is promising for the streak for the last 6 months of the year as well. Prince Manzi continues.
Various hours across the city of Kigali and the secondary cities, people are being served in hotels and restaurants. These clients appreciate the increasing number of people investing in this industry, as well as on how they are best serving on everyone's preferences.
A lot of people tend to stay around the city and they don't go out. So it's very nice to have, when you do go out into the countryside, it's nice to be able to stop in a beautiful location like this. You've got the hills around, the trees, fresh air, and birds flying all over the place. You can sit and have your coffee here, and it's a proper coffee. You know, this is like for me, I like an espresso, and many places you don't find this.
The National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda demonstrates that in the first term of this year, the country's GDP increased by 9.2%. The service industry increased by 13%, and the revenues from the restaurants and hotels increased by 42%. Personnel in this industry attribute the increase of visitors and revenues in this industry to the touristic marketing strategies the country has set in place. We currently have many 4- and 5-star hotels. The Kigali Convention Center that hosts many people at once. This is something that boosted the revenues of this industry. Most of African countries, as well as other countries from other continents, were visa exempted. All of these facilitates people in coming in Rwanda. Yves Ngenzi, the deputy head of the tourism chamber at the Private Sector Federation, states that the increase of the service sector revenues is a sign that this sector is getting stronger back to where it was before the COVID-19.
Hari businesses nyinshi zitubwira yuko zamaze gusubira ku mibare ya mbere.
There are businesses demonstrating that their statuses have returned back to where it were before COVID-19, and there are some who are not there but will be at the end of this year. But most of the businesses made their 2019 statuses, and the same will be for the rest at the end of this year. Statistics from the Rwanda Development Board demonstrates that the tourism sector earned $445 million in 2022 compared to $164 million earned in 2021, equivalent to a 171.3% increase. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
The United Nations High Commission for Refugees indicates that despite the decrease in funds from different organizations, Rwanda has implemented measures to support refugees to feel comfortable. Shinatata has more.
In the 5 refugee camps found in Rwanda, there are different infrastructures including schools, hospitals, business enterprises and cooperatives, all in favor of the refugees' development. Some of the refugees who have joined together to form cooperatives with support from government financial bodies expressed that it has contributed towards their development. We are given trainings about how we can be creative and create our own jobs, and they have also given us access to water, which we lacked before. Aretha Rwagasore, the managing director of Inkomoko that helps entrepreneurs in starting their own businesses, has also offered trainings to 30,000 refugees, which has yielded results and made the refugees more creative.
So we have worked with refugees now since 2016, and we've seen a lot of growth. We've seen a lot of refugees that come for 5 or 6 loan cycles. The reason for that is that they've been actually been able to grow from one business to a second business to a third business. Some of them have become serial entrepreneurs. And to be honest, we've seen a lot of growth. We've seen a lot of increase in revenues, increase in job creation as well. They've been able to give jobs to their fellow refugees and host community members. And so all that is registered growth that we can really link to the business skills that we give them.
The ministry in charge of emergency management, Marie-Solange Kaisire, says that Rwanda will continue to look after refugees and supporting them to become self-reliant and become sources of solutions of the problems they face.
Twiyemeje kubaintegra mu baturage bacu.
We have devoted ourselves towards the integration of refugees with other citizens. They have access to all services including education, health and others. We still have a long way of convincing them that they can develop themselves and contribute towards Rwanda's development as well. The United Nations High Commission for Refugees representative in Rwanda, Asiatu Ndiaye Dieng, appreciates the rules and efforts applied to help refugees despite the decrease in funds from international organizations.
We live in a world that there are so many competing crises, and it is difficult to really attract more resources to, if I can call them, old operations or operations that have been around or crises that have been around for the past 20 years. What needs to be done is to give them the possibility to be self-reliant, help them to help themselves. So that's what we are doing in Rwanda, because Rwanda has a conducive environment in which refugees are integrated. They can be included. They can work. They can access to the health facilities. They can access to schools. So those are opportunities that are given to refugees. And when the international finances are getting rare and scarce, it is important that we help refugees to take care of themselves and become self-reliant.
Rwanda has joined the rest of the world in celebrating the World Refugee Day, and the Ministry of Emergency Management reveals that there are 133,062 refugees in the 5 permanent refugee camps and the 6 temporary refugee camps. Shinateta, RTV News.
Thank you, Shinateta, for that story. Now, in the Ines Ruhengeri Institute for Applied Sciences, they started 2 weeks courses for mathematics students in East Africa. The aim is to emphasize girls to study mathematics as their number is still low on the African continent. Prince Manzi has more.
Some of the girls talk on how they are discouraged to study mathematics. Most of the time, we are told that mathematics is hard, mostly in the processes to get a solution of various equations. A mathematics expert, Professor Alexandre Yambabaje, demonstrates some of the challenges hindering girls to join mathematics courses. The first reason is that math is something that takes time to graduate in it, and after completing the first phase maybe, they start thinking on getting married. The challenge always becomes how we facilitate them because they engage in a lot of work when they get married. Professor Yambabaje states that all activities are based on mathematics in East African countries are to emphasize on these courses for the continent to meet its goals. You find mathematics in all fields. what can be done for policymakers and those who are not directly involved in mathematics to understand the importance of mathematics and support those studying in it, and to have many joining the program. The head of the Ines Ruhengeri Institute, Father Dr. Jean Bosco Baribeshya, emphasizes that the modern skills are based on mathematics, and that is why collaboration is essential in teaching it.
Muri za kaminuza rero buriya
All our modules in universities are based on mathematics, and that is why these trainings are conducted every 2 weeks from one African country to another. It was for Rwanda to host this time.
ubu twari tugeze ku mwanya w'u Rwanda.
The 60 participants of the mathematics courses are from Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, and Rwanda.
And on that note, that story quickly sums up our bulletin tonight. And on behalf of the production team, and I would like to thank you for sticking with us on our TV News. My name is Teza Martina Avera, and would like to wish you to have a great night.